All right. Game number 1 starts with a really interesting message coming from chat. Marbubs says, BaseTradeTV, hope you have a good next 3 weeks of StarCraft. Because I just got out of the hospital and they gave me 3 weeks off. I'm really sad to hear that, but at the same time, congratulations on having 3 weeks off, man. We'll try and bring as much StarCraft as we can in that time period. But we are getting into game number 1. You're still in the winner's bracket for the WCS Shanghai European Qualifiers. Spawning in the top right side of the map, it's going to be the Blue Zerg player, Team Liquid's Snoot.
In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, is ShoWTimE.
And of course, the other part, if you guys missed it when we came back from the break, just a sad announcement that Wellmo has opted out and forfeited the loser's bracket, so a bit of a walkover down there. Which means Little Bao is going to fight against Happy or Winter or the loser of this series, I think. I'm actually not sure how that's going to trickle down, but Wellmo being in the losers round of 7 is just going to be a walkover. So winner of Little Bao versus whoever is going to have an easy follow-up.
Yep. It's too bad, too. He was kind of close. He would have only had to have played 1, 2, 3 more series. Oh, no, 4, actually. Okay. It's not as close as I thought. As it is 1 from the top and 1 from the losers, but
yep.
Still sucks.
But, you know, the 2 best players will get through, so...
That's true.
Determination is a big part of that, not giving up, whatnot, but...
Yeah?
Yeah, I guess it gets later in the day in Europe, and it's pretty, in the evening now for sure?
It's definitely like 10 or 11.
Yeah, 10 or 11, yeah. Because I think they're 9 hours ahead of me, and it's almost 1 o'clock.
So, yeah. So, I think it comes down to, like, do they have anything else happening tomorrow? Do they have another tournament to practice for? If this was literally the only thing, you know, like it was in 2015, you don't forfeit the losers bracket of getting a WCS Challenger. But there are a lot of events and a lot of tournaments happening nowadays.
Yeah, and actually, a funny point that was brought up recently. I like the Stargate opener at ShoWTimE. Last night, again, it was like No Regret and Hawk and Peely Peely and Intense, and a lot of guys got together just kind of for an impromptu talk show thing, and they talked about how tournament names can be a big factor in whether people will stick around and play or whether they give up. I mean, money obviously being the number 1 motivator behind anything else, but I guess the funny thing is, like, well, this is a WCS event. It really doesn't feel like it carries the weight of the name or anything for WCS, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this same tournament could be called Blizzard's WCS Shanghai International or something, and it's still, like, the way it's been handled, and this is no criticism on anybody from Take TV or the admins or anything, like, this just hasn't been advertised well. It doesn't feel like a big WCS event, and I think a lot of players are probably seeing the qualifiers as such.
Yeah. It just again, even going back to the fact that it's on Chalon just throws me off every single time I think it's a WCS event. I'm used to, clicking that hide button.
Yeah, the
so it just
ESL
doesn't
brackets most of the time
feel prestigious. Yeah, there's a good reason why the ESL brackets. I have to scroll. Well, anyways, it doesn't feel as prestigious as it could have.
Yeah. I gave one shout out earlier today. I'm gonna do it again. I don't know if he's still lurking, but my good friend on the couch tuning in. I don't even know if he really watches StarCraft, but good to see you, man.
Son of a... I haven't won a bank heist in the last 7 bank heists.
Good. You're probably busy. Bullshit. You're probably busy trying to tackle Scarlet, and she's like, "No, get off me," and leaves you behind.
Wow. Excuse you.
She's like, "Don't touch me, Jess."
Wow. Excuse you. And also, I would trip her if anything. She wasn't even in this one.
Really, I feel like, because I can imagine you, rather than being someone who's leaning against the wall like a cool guy who sticks his foot out at the last second, I imagine you just go for a full body aim for the legs tackle.
Well, you see, if I go for the full body, then that you can't get a lot of full body tackles in the same span of time as you would with casually tripping people with a leg.
Jeez, you don't all in StarCraft. You don't all in real life. You don't all in bank heist. At some point,
I all in when it matters. Wink.
Well, how was that? That wasn't even a good sexual thing. That was just I let the guy all in. He doesn't. No, not just the tip with me. I let him go all the way. What the fuck?
Oh Jesus! Well,
Yeah,
you brought it to a new level.
Let's move it. Let's move away from this one. Snoot gets a spore crawler down, and this is gonna push this away. Couple
You
of
made it
queens
so much
nicely
more
done.
R-rated.
No, I just extrapolated
Jesus.
on your terrible wink. You probably had like I don't have your camera, but
That's
I bet
the
you had
point.
like
That's why you wink. You don't say like.
Yeah, I bet
hey
you had like a
guys, this fully
Lucille.
happened exactly detail to detail.
you,
Wink.
you probably had like a Lucille Bloop wink going on for that too, just like horrific and terrifying.
My winks are amazing. Shut up.
Okay, Warp Prism coming out second, Robo on the way. I mean, we got ShoWTimE playing this out about as you would expect, but Snoot is actually going for a pretty quick infestation pit. And I'm curious what direction this goes, because infestors, I love infestors. I just, Hive Tech seems to be a little bit lacking lately. And there we go, 3 infestors. This will help deal with the Phoenix a lot more easily. If you want to see a burrow, you can do sneak attacks and such later on. We've seen some pretty good results out of those.
This is like the first time in a couple of series that we've seen infestors, despite a lot of them going to Hive.
Yeah.
And very least layer, right? So, I'd like to see them. They're going to be coming out without the energy, of course, but the plan is that no one's going to be attacking each other anytime soon anyways, so they're going to have that time to gain that energy. And it is Dusk Towers, so you are going to have quite a bit of time. ShoWTimE throws on 7 gateways at once. There's going to be a big burst of production, while of course still getting everything else you need. Templar Archives, Charge, lots of Immortals. Snoot, I would imagine, is going to go up to a Hive soon with the Infestation Pit down.
Well, actually, I would actually like if he stayed on Hydra laying Infestor or such for layer 2. I mean, yes, you'll want a Hive. I just don't think a fast Hive would benefit him.
I don't know. Like the Protoss can poke with what they have. It just, actually expecting a committed attack. You have to be wary, I guess. So it's always going to be questionable, especially since he doesn't have eyes on whether or not ShoWTime's taking a 4th base. You don't know if they are going to actually attack you or not. Which we know ShoWTimE is taking 4th base off to the left. The Snoots would have a very decent army to defend with if he was being attacked, with lots of roaches now on the way, already had those Hydralisks, and is getting upgrades just a little bit quicker than ShoWTimE.
Well, we got the Warp Prism, just kind of been keeping an eye on this on the right side, waiting to see if it goes in. Now, unloading a bunch of Zealots right now, like, Charge is good. Of course, it's got a little bit of that extra damage, so it gets to that mineral line, takes care of some of these units, but Snoot can deal with this. This isn't like he's got caught like embarrassingly droning to 90 with no army units. Like there's Hydras, there's Roaches lurking about.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am curious where the Hive is going to go with this, because if it is straight to Brood Lords, there's not a lot of really, I don't know, there's no upgrades that benefit that. There's not a lot of units that are going to benefit that. But if it is for something more like Vipers, I actually, again, like not for Abducts, but for Blinding Clouds or anything, like it just really good against what is a lot of Immortals, and that's what we've been seeing a lot of.
Oh, yeah. Tons, even. 14, even. Although, ShoWTimE isn't close to that number yet. Ravagers being formed here, as Lurgan's not quite done. So getting that ultimate composition for both of them. The Snoot's Hive is finishing up here. Fleet Beacon on the way for ShoWTimE. Yay! You're gonna see
Yay.
those Tempests. Oh, well, unless Snoot has something to say about it. He might be getting a Hive, maybe getting a Lurker's Den, but he's attacking without any of that.
Well, he's treating it kind of like Terran, right? Like you got Infestor Ravager, so if you can land those Corrosive Biles, they'll be good against anything they hit. They do hold a lot of these units in place, but the Corrosive Biles are really late to the party. They do hit a lot of units, granted, but he's going to lose out on so much. ShoWTimE doesn't have a lot of supply coming into or leaving this, but Snoot did not take a great fight just now, and he lost those Infestors.
Yeah. Well, just seeing the concave that ShoWTimE had set up, I would have been like, I don't know about taking that engagement. But Snoot did, and it didn't go all that well. Not super poorly that I think he's going to die to a counterattack immediately, but poorly enough that when you are hoping to maybe get all of your Hive Tech units out that you can't really afford it, you do need some army to make sure you just don't die to this attack ShoWTime's setting up now.
Yeah.
He's only down 20-ish army supply. The Infestors did die, so these new ones, again, they won't have the energy for a fungal right off the bat. They're gonna need time.
Like, prior to that fight, I was really liking Snoot's position. I'm not saying it's bad now. He's still got a nice supply lead, and he's got a good upgrade count going behind this. But this is Roach and Hydra versus, Archons and Immortals, and more importantly, Charge Lots, and soon to be Tempests. I mean, ShoWTimE is looking better and better.
Yeah, I have more faith in ShoWTimE for this late game, especially after Snoot's attack. It doesn't give him much of a bank to work with for the late game. But we'll see. He's once again attacking in here. These infestors do have enough energy for a fungal now. Just one apiece. I think ShoWTimE's pretty well positioned again, however.
His overcharge just wore off pretty quick.
It doesn't last that long. So, the 5th base is going to get denied here by a single zealot. That kind of sucks for Snoot. I think he does want to go ahead and go into a Greater Spire after this, but if he loses all of his army, then it would be a very dangerous time to try and go for those Corruptors. And this looks like he's kind of losing his entire army.
Yeah, I mean, he takes out the cannons and the pylon at the top at the cost of his army to the south. Again, Snoot does trade this out, so it's not for nothing, but he's not killing the Immortals, he's killing the Zealots, he's killing the Archons, units that are much more easily replaced due to Warp Tech. If you're killing the Immortals, the nice thing you can bank on is like, okay, it was kind of expensive, but it's also going to take forever to replace. That's not going to happen here, I don't think. And Snoot is definitely starting to feel the burn from this. Now, he's going for Greater Spire and Broodlords, and there's not... I don't know. Like, Tempest, I just feel already being out. It's kind of like going Mutalist into someone who opened with Phoenix.
Yeah, I think, for both of them, they have to go to that, like, later stage, right? So it's not quite the counter, as in, like, you shouldn't go for it, but it is the case that if they are already going to have Tempests, you would hope that you would have this huge bank, that you would get Corruptors and Broodlords very easily, and you'd already be kind of set defensively, but still not on Broodlords. If ShoWTimE pushed in now, they wouldn't help, because the Corruptors wouldn't be plentiful enough. Snoot losing that extra base he really wanted to just a single Zealot was really... threw his plans for a loop, I think, and just in general losing all those engagements. So that's how Snoot imagined this game going, almost guaranteed. And he is in a lot of trouble, but Broodlords have to be the next step. Well, ShoWTimE's already at that step.
Yeah.
And Snoot's in a lot of trouble.
Actually, funny enough, out of all these infestors and the way they've been used, I would have loved to have seen some infested Terrans come out at some point. I think that would have helped out a ton early on, before the Immortal kind of got out of control.
I'll say that Snoot's upgrades are pretty good at 3-1, but his army just isn't what you would need at this stage. Like, even without the Tempests are really helping. It's the Storms, it's the Mass Immortals.
Yeah, this is a bit of a massacre. The barriers are keeping these Immortals standing so long. Good game, well played. And ShoWTimE definitely earned that first game victory.
Yeah, he played... I feel like he just kind of played like again, a good Protoss. Like I saw Harsum with Minimath, I think it was. Just nice, defensive. I expected this, so I'm ready for it. And Snoot's, like, dedication to running in when you know the Protoss is prepared for it was the questionable thing in that game.
I'm sad, obviously, because I'm hoping Snoot wins and all that, but thinking, Heart, Snoot, Head, ShoWTimE, bit of a conflict. But we'll see what he does for this next one. Because we do know that Snoot, one of the things I really like about him is he does have some cheeky builds up his sleeve and maybe decides to try and pull one out here.
Yeah.
That ghost build on Lirlac Crest, like, what was that? Other than amazing.
So cool. Yeah, exactly.
Alright, well, folks, we are getting into game number 2. Spawning here in the top left side of Lirlac Crest. He's down 1 point at the moment, but I have faith he can bring it back. Playing for Team Liquid, it's Snoot.
In the bottom left, as the blue Protoss, he's ShoWTimE.
So things are bad with Zerg when you have Scarlet in chat constantly mocking Zerg and making fun of Protoss. Literally making fun of all of our fans who bet on Zerg for this series. So, I mean, we've definitely seen a lot of aspects to every matchup that makes one race look imbalanced versus another. It is really hard to comment and say, like, Snoot lost that game because he picked Zerg as a race. Like, there was some bad decision making. And I think, like, whether you're Terran or Protoss, you make those same bad decisions, you're still going to have a bad time. But that being said, don't let everyone get too down in the dumps about it, because it has been a lot of Zerg dominance in Europe, just in general. And while ShoWTimE may win this series, let's not forget, he has to go up against Nurchio next, or Snoot, if he turns it around, has to fight Nurchio next. Then the top half of the bracket is either a Laser, Tefl, or Bly, so yet another Zerg down the line.
It's not a Zerg.
Yeah.
That's Europe.
And if Zerg were really, truly, and I'm not making the case to say this matchup isn't balanced versus imbalanced, but if Zerg truly were that bad, we wouldn't see so many toppling the brackets.
just throwing it out there. But yeah. Snoot gets away with a pretty greedy build here. ShoWTimE, I want to talk about his gateway placement. Very interesting gateway placement. You know, we saw Hearthstone go for a Nexus first and put the pylon at the natural ramp, because you can do that now. You can try and do that now anyways. Like, they might still lose to a early pool, but because the rocks are already broken down, it's no longer just the automatic 2 entryways into your base. But I guess this was kind of like he likes the diagonal wall off better, even though the option of the frontal wall off is now there for Layerlac.
Yeah.
And I guess it is about that preference.
Well, I guess it does also create a sort of second layer. Like, let's say the first one gets compromised, you do have a bit of a fallback, at least, if you've done it this way. Whereas I feel like you'd be so not inclined to do this if your first wall goes up at the ramp.
Well, Stargate's going to be at their front, so it's not going to be too hard to scout for Snoot, hopefully. Not going to be surprised by this. Doesn't really have to worry about too much aggression, as there's only one gateway. The Adept will shade over just to get a scouts and also force out at least a couple of lings, which is already created in anticipation. 3 queens, of course, 1 for each base. And, well, his build's looking pretty good. We'll see what ShoWTimE can do with this. The Stargate. Having any tech on the front lines is always dangerous, but if you do want that secondary wall, as you're talking about, then that's going to be the quickest way to do it. Actually place down buildings as fast as possible. Just worry about it dying, as it tries to get the Void Ray outs to a couple of Ravager shots. As we did see Hearthstone, when he went put his Twilight Council in the front, did lose it twice, I think.
Well, we'll see what the Oracle can get done. And it's not exactly what I thought would happen on Layerlac. No blind gambles out of Snoot, and he is going to play it safe for the most part. It does kind of suck, though, because I feel like once we do hit that super late game, it does get really hard, and I can't help but think back to, like, how did Zerg used to deal with this? But then you realize they didn't, because the entirety of HOTS was just Blink Stalkers, and more Blink Stalkers, and Blink Stalkers.
Yeah. I mean, PvZ is so much more fun in Legacy of the Void. If it's not on Dusk Towers, I will say Dusk Towers has gotten kind of...
Dust Towers
you expect a lot of things.
It's really become the Deadwing map. The
It has,
macro
yes.
long games, you expect the long matches to happen on Dusk Towers.
Yeah, that's true. But other than that, PvZ in general, I think, has become a lot more fun. Blink Stalkers could be amazing. I mean, seeing Blink Control is always, somewhat impressive. But now we have, I think, a few more options. It looks nicer. Although I guess if Mass Immortals continues to be the only way to go, that might get boring too. It's even less micro, really, than Blink Stalkers. We'll see. Ask me again in 6 months.
Yeah, I'm not too keen on watching the Immortals be what they are. And I'm wondering, actually, if it is that barrier ability that is what carries this so hard. Because let's be honest, that soaks up a lot of damage, and it's really hard to break. And you end up wasting so many extra shots into something that just disappears in 2 seconds anyways. It might mean, okay, you got to micro differently. You might have to bait barrier cooldowns the same way you would use to bait overcharges. I don't know, but I agree. Like if it is Mass Immortal that this matchup is meant to be, then I don't want to watch this match. Nice stasis traps though out of ShoWTimE. Ooh.
So, I mean, we're like, I saw the 3-4 pool. We can talk about Dust Towers. We've seen a lot more macro games. We have cheese games
lings
in this entire tournament, believe it or not. Well, after Liz Heating, that is. So I totally forgot this is a very powerful attack for Zerg on this map, especially in vertical or horizontal spawns. Yeah, Roach Ravager, and then you bring a Queens across too, because it's such a short distance, they don't even have much creep. So, dang, totally forgot. I guess also the rocks played a part into also not seeing this as much, but obviously the rocks were breaking down like really, really quick, so having to throw down this emergency, not even wall, but photon overcharge wall. I realize what's coming.
I really like the way he tried to set this up. It's unfortunate, as we see, though, not going to be enough. The Oracles are trying to shell away at the Lings. The stasis traps were really cool coming into this, but this hits at that perfect timing. And while Snoot may have not done the super cheeky, beaky all-in that was like one base related, he hits really hard. And that supply count is just skyrocketing. 51 over 19. And he's going to take down the Cyber Course, no more Stalkers, no more Adepts, just Zealots.
I don't know, like, ShoWTimE, he might also have been a little surprised. He got that stasis trap that was pretty good, right? I got the queens at least to halt a little bit longer, and I think that's when he realized, like, oh shit, like,
Yeah.
that's right, this can happen. So the problem is that even if you anticipated this every single PvZ, it was still hard to defend. So I'm not saying that was all of it, but I think some of it was ShoWTimE was a little surprised.
I will say, Snoot kind of went into auto attack mode. Got a little bit scary at the end, but he does end up taking the game, tying things up now 1-1. And because we're going to the ace match, guys, we're going to go to a small break. We'll see you in 2 minutes with that new lobby ASAP. Lobby ASAP. Lobby AS. All right, folks, welcome back. Game number 3, tied up 1 apiece. Here for the winner's bracket of the WCS Shanghai qualifiers. Keep in mind, the winner of this has to go on to fight against Nurchio next, and certainly on his way to recovery, having just tied up that series 1-1, it's Liquid Snoot.
In the top right as the blue Protoss now, it is ShoWTimE.
So, you mentioned it, and I kind of forgot about it too, so I tried to just like not get involved when you mentioned it, but the Roach Ravager attack. You know, it's so many times I've talked about that on stream, where it's like, you know, you come in with 80 supply of Roaches, Ravagers, Lings, whatever, and the Protoss sits there having gotten to Immortals at the Robo, and they have like 30 supply. And we see things like that just plummet and snowball so quickly. Now, the Queen version where you pull with it is obviously awesome, but less accessible here on Ruins, especially in these spawns.
Yeah, definitely not going to happen here. That would be quite the trek for the queens. But there are other, you know, early aggression tactics that Snoot could use. Ling attacks and Ling drops can be popular, but that may have just been like he wanted his, you know, his confidence booster after losing the first game, after a very long game, where I think we realized that he shouldn't have pushed in. He probably did too, and is kind of smack himself about that first game. You get that quick 1-1 after that, and you kind of level out your feelings maybe a little bit. So I don't know if he'd be so quick to do another all-in just because it worked so well last game. He might just be going back to the Snoot that we know for the most part. Snoot has always been this macro player that was a good best-of player because he could throw out a cheese or two, or an all-in or two, but not because that was entirely what it depended on.
Yeah, I think, actually, it's funny you bring that up, because well, Snoot has been in the past, I think, of someone who favors macro and using that to his advantage. Well, that wouldn't normally work on a lot of maps. This might be a map that could play towards, because let's assume we fast forward 20 minutes, and it's crazy Tempest and Immortal versus Lurker standoff. The difference being on a map like Ruins, you've got a lot of areas you can run around and harass, and Lings, Roaches, you name it, to the corners and the sides of those 5th, 6th, and very important mining bases. And the further ShoWTimE gets pulled away with that very slow-moving Protoss army from his production, the more, I guess, open he becomes and susceptible to attacks from Snoot. Because unlike Hearthstone, that we've seen many times in the past, ShoWTimE's not someone he's the type of guy to throw down like 18 cannons for no reason.
Yeah. He does seem to be Hearthstone doing that, where Protosses otherwise are just trying to, well, actually, A, not have so much of a bank, and B, put the bank into more of the army fights opposed to the defensive.
Did you see his tweet about the brackets, by the way? Speaking of Hearthstone.
I didn't read it, I saw it.
It's just pretty much like, so how long do you think till I finally get to play or something? It'll be like a couple hours because of how far down the bracket he is.
I saw like 2 words, which was what and bracket or something, and I thought he meant like who do you think was gonna win?
Oh, it's not gonna elevator, or maybe he will. I don't know. This
Does he have an Evo chamber? No.
No, that's what I was curious about the Ling positioning there. It wasn't going to work anyways because the Phoenix coming out would have shut down that Overlord, so timing would have been really, really off for him to do that.
Yeah, that's certainly true. So, no sneaky tactics in this game. If it will be anything all in, it would have to be like a Night Storm at this point. Even that would be questionable. With the Phoenixes traveling around, picking off these Overlords, which there's only 2 of out on the map. So you just get all the rest of them back home. A lot of Lings are on the way. Definitely looking to cancel a 3rd base, which ShoWTimE could be quite greedy with. You know, maybe getting it before you got 3 gateways. But he does have 3 gateways. Wait for maybe 2 warp-ins until you feel really safe, and then you can pretty securely take that 3rd base. This probe, good reaction. But there's a lot more links than just those two. And they're coming across kind of in a secret path. That's a very odd path that they're taking. Doesn't want to go through the middle, I guess, because he figures that a shade or something, that the Phoenix are going to be there, I guess. But
through the mountains.
All right, now he's come up to the third base. There's only 3 Adepts. He didn't wait for the next 3. So those could be killed. They get to a decent spot, though. That's nice. And that pylon on the high ground provides a really nice warp-in location. Tried to, anyways.
He does tear through a good chunk of the Adepts, but backing away to focus on the Nexus instead. It's got a full surround, so this probably is going to have to get canceled. ShoWTimE nailing the cancel.
Yep. That's exactly what Snoot wanted from that Ling attack, and that's something that you could definitely expect when... well, I guess when you have a good indication that they aren't going for an all-in, because some 2-base all-ins are still... worth it for the Protoss, but get that cancel, scare them a little bit. Of course, with the Phoenixes, ShoWTimE still has some good scouting, so it's not like he's like, oh my god, what's coming up behind this? He knows, sees all the gas is being taken, and the defensive setup with the Spore Crawlers also coming down only just now, so the Phoenixes do get a couple of drone kills and even a Queen.
Not bad. Of course, that is a lot of their energy use, so not a lot of staying power here. Might get the Overlord if he really wants, but it's not really worth it to lose the Phoenix. But almost loses it. Man, Spore Crawlers are so garbage.
I feel like in the past month or so, you've really gotten on the Spore Crawler's ass.
I have. I'm
really
really
been
mad.
Playing Zerg?
A little bit. I actually... So this sounds silly. I would love if Spore Crawlers did... Like, I wouldn't even care if they did, like, no damage, but if they did, like, a small slow or something, so you could catch the units better.
No. Nope. Hard pass.
We got a new sub coming in. Thank you so much to .ktml.
Woo!
Alphabet soup almost. .ktml. Thank you for supporting the channel. Good for sir. Phoenix does get sniped. Kabului does go down. Third base finally up and running for ShoWTimE.
I thought you were saying a subscriber. Kabului.
No, I just messed up Kablooey and went with it. Because I have confidence. And ignorance. A dangerous combination. I'm basically American. You see that guy called me out for being American earlier today? I can understand why.
I did. Well, someone tried to call us out for being American about the vanilla almond milk. You know, like, first of all, how is that, like, stereotypically American? Second of all, we are in Canada.
I mean, like, I don't have enough national pride to really care if someone confuses me for an American or not. But when someone's like, typical American, I'm just like, you're so stupid.
Yeah, well,
like,
yeah. When someone says typical X, you're just like, what? No, like, stop.
Typical StarCraft flair.
But if someone wants to make fun of America, the United States, like, go for it. I don't care.
Y'all are voting for Trump. It
Y'all
ain't funny.
there.
It started as a joke, and now someone's gonna get hurt.
Oh, yeah, like, a lot of people would get hurt if he actually got voted in. Well,
Lurkers.
happier topics, such as lurkers, ripping through your zealot line and destroying you. Happier topics.
There is detection, so this won't be super bad. And I actually feel like this is a weird force. If he actually somehow were able to focus on the Immortals, he's going to have such a good follow-up to this. Snoot, that is. But ShoWTimE's going to have about 4 Immortals out for the start of this fight, a couple of Archons even in the back. And those Lurkers just trying to zone out the army as he tries to dart up to the natural. Not going to happen. Has to back away.
Yeah. It's a pretty small lurker count, but it is supplemented with a ton of lings, so ShoWTimE still definitely has to be worried.
He's in range of the Robo with the Lurkers, so I mean, this will force a fight. Like, ShoWTimE's he's waiting until he's got more Immortals. Again, he had that 4th one almost out. Like, cool, great. Problem is, he's going to lose one of the Robos for it. He's giving up some range here.
Get the Stargate. He's going into Muta's after this, and he is dedicating to them a little bit with a +1 flyer attack and more than just 8 or 10.
I feel like if he just straight up focused the Stargate, that's too obvious. And I kind of like that he just auto this because he's safe to do this. The army from ShoWTimE's not budging. Like,
they really should. There's only 2 lurkers.
Hustle your bustle, boys!
The other 2 lurkers went to the high ground. There you go.
Okay, these other lurkers. I mean, they did a lot of splash damage already. If the Lings were on the backside of this, it'd be different. But he's chewing away at all these probes. Now, Snoot gives away an entire army for this. And the only reason this ends up being really worth it, in my opinion, is that Muta swap, the tech switch, the catch you off guard move.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know how to, like, I said he was dedicating to it with the +1 flyer. We'll see what's happening on the tree right there. But then he does go back into roaches, and, like, he's upgrading the missile, not in any melee. So it looks like 16 with +1 is going to be his cutoff.
Ooh,
Unless I guess
that
he really
Phoenix.
found an opportunity.
1 health hype.
He sees the army moving across the map. ShoWTimE's not trying to defend, and he saw that, so I guess maybe that also explains why he's not going in any more mutas. He needs an army to defend back at home. Roaches, a lot of roaches are coming out, but he does need the DPS of the Hydralisk to come with them.
If the mutas were to come, there's no anti-air, just the Archons. Like, they could actually pick out the Immortals on the backside. He's going for a lot of worker harass while he can. I mean, this is a really greedy thing. ShoWTimE's already down to 20-something workers. Like, if he were to just go home, I feel like he's already done more than an ample damage. Oh, no, don't fly over the Archons.
Alright, so ShoWTimE now has dealt with the mutas, thanks to the 2 Archons, but he still lost so much. This is still like an all-in here. And there is a very large Zerg army waiting for him.
25 workers is not much to work with, but Snoot at the same time doesn't have a grandstanding army at home. Drones being pulled. I mean, he could lose like 40 drones and still be ahead, and drones are good against Immortals. The Archons fall. The few mutas that were across the map come home, and I think he's just locked this down. GG. Snoot is going to take the series 2-1. Yay! To clarify one step further, though, because people are asking and debating in chat, for those who don't know, I am Canadian. Hi, no doot. And ZvP is American.
Howdy, y'all.
That was just
we're really Canadian, so I had to go like really American.
I didn't even go really Canadian. I feel like
you said a boot, which like such emphasis.
I didn't say a boot.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I've got no doot in my mind. All right.
Oh, sorry. You said. They both sound the same when you highlight the oot part.
Oot and a boot. I'm gonna go take my canoe outside. All right. I don't know. I can't even do a proper Canadian accent. Like, that's how bad I am at being Canadian. But congratulations to Snoot, who will advance to fight against Nurchio. And Snoot's ZVZ is certainly another part of his playstyling that's in question right now. But if he could beat ShoWTimE, I'm hoping he could beat Nurchio here. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, at the same time, I'd be very happy if Nurchio got through. He's been showing really strong gameplay recently, and definitely good. So we're gonna hop to a small break. We got a new sub, Mustev. Did we just run out of people with normal names on Twitch? Like, did we get 1,000 people subscribed to the channel, and all 800 people with normal names are already subbed?
Yes.
Not making fun of your name. I'm sorry. It's just like we've had so many names that we cannot.
I really feel like
pronounce
Mstev is not that hard though.
No. Like maybe it's Mstev, Mstev, MS Tev.
It's Steve. Oh God.
Backwards, it's
this is awkward.
Vetsim. Steve. It's like instead of like getting drunk and playing like a jukebox outside your apartment above his head, he like comes to the Twitch channel, just starts subbing, and it's like, oh, Will just sub to the channel. You sub to the channel. Take. Sub to the channel. What? Me? Sub to the channel? Back? Sub to the channel. Will you take me? Oh, it's Steve.
I was wondering where you were.
Okay, Snoot and Nurchio are going to have to do vetoes. We're going to go to a commercial break while I get that sorted. So thank you guys for joining us for the WCS Shanghai qualifiers. And when we return, hopefully a ZvZ ready to go.